Okay, everybody. So this is something that I think we need to talk about. It's really important because for those of you that are starting in nonprofits or running nonprofits and are depending on grants, a lot of us are heavily depending on grants. We've been in the nonprofit arena for a long time. And so, as we know, something really, really heavy has come out today, or it probably came out yesterday. I'm just getting it today, but it really is going to affect and have a real huge rippling effect. I feel it, our organization feels it. And that means a lot for a lot of people. We know that there's over 2.5 million nonprofits in the U.S., but not all of them are dependent on grants. But they are in some way, shape, or form. If it's not federal grants, they're depending on the state or the county or their city, some type of government in one way, and there's a trickle down effect. So for those of you who don't realize this, is let me share this with you. The Trump administration said Monday it will pause federal financial assistance program to review whether they align with President Donald Trump's agenda. This is going to lead to a wide. It really is leading to a widespread uncertainty in legal actions because we're up in arms. Like, okay, so what do we do now? This is true. This is not just what people are talking about. We're getting a federal grant, and I went in to look, and it's like everything is paused. It's like, hold on, this is, the administration has paused some things. We need to take a look at it and see if it's aligning with what his agenda is. So don't know how long. Do you lay off employees? What do you do? Do you shut down operations? What do you do? So we don't know what to do, and that's just that's a sad state of affairs, and right now for everybody. But it says that he doesn't plan on, he's trying to clarify which programs he'll cut off, insisting that Medicaid payments will continue despite reported issues. So, Medicaid is something that is um, an entitlement supposed to be, but we know in this world there is no one's entitled to anything. We think we are, but we're not. So it's a temporary moratorium. It was detailed in the Office of Management and Budget memo, first obtained by the independent journalists, what have you, and whatnot. So it says it didn't specify which federal grants will and won't get cut off. But I have to tell you that we're feeling like we're cut off because we went in and before you were able to go in, and if you had an invoice you needed to bill for the services you've already provided, you can't bill ahead of time. You bill for the services you've already provided. Went in there to get it, and it's like the site's not working. Where it might have been on all day, or late into the evening on EST time, it's getting cut short 4 o'clock EST time. And so that's really something that we have to look at. I think everyone is talking about this. So it says the pause becomes effective at 5 p.m. EST Tuesday. So that's today when I'm doing this videos. And agencies are required to report to the Office of Management and Budget by February 10th which programs and activities they have paused. Okay. So right now we're like, okay, so which ones have they been paused? We have to wait until February 10th, right? But we'll know if they've been paused. Okay. The pause does not apply to Social Security and Medicare payments or financial assistance provided directly to individuals. Okay. And OMB could grant other exceptions on a case by case basis. Agencies must examine which programs conflict with Trump's executive orders to halt government spending that falls under financial assistance for foreign aid, non governmental organizations, so that's us, non government NGOs, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that he wants to do away with that, woke gender ideology, and the Green New Deal, according to the memo. So these are the ones that he's, wanted to chop, okay? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. So we know we may have some programs that's targeting certain populations that's underserved. Is that part of the DEI? If it is, programs will probably be cut. All federal agencies must also task a senior political appointee to monitor spending to ensure federal financial assistance conforms to administrative priorities. 3 trillion, that's how much the funding government spent on assistance in the 2024 fiscal year. 3 trillion. And so this is a good call out for us nonprofits too. Is that what else did we do? We did not set up our nonprofits so we could just depend on the government to help us help our clients. We said we wanted to do this because it was in our heart, it was our purpose and our passion. And there's more than a lot of ways than just going to the government for funding. We just have to be very, very strategic. We have to learn how to leverage resources, work more together. but it's definitely a trickle down effect. And it's a great wake up call. So I'm excited for the new nonprofits who's starting that has not been dependent on the government for their funding. So you get an opportunity to really diversify your funding, look at some of the other resources, which is wonderful because I have been digging deep, looking at other ways to get funding, and there's so many opportunities out there, but we have to be able to learn what those opportunities are and to seize them and be trained on them. AI is wonderful and it's going to be a great tool. And so we want to take a look at how we can leverage those tools and those resources, okay? So it talks about 4 advocacy groups: the National Council of Nonprofits, the American Public Health Association, the Main Street Alliance for Small Businesses, and the LGBTQ advocacy nonprofit SAGE filed a lawsuit Monday afternoon against the OMB and the acting director Matthew Vaith, against asking a Washington D.C. federal court to issue a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction to bar the OMB from implementing the directives. The lawsuit argues the OMB memo violates provisions of the Administrative Procedure Act, prohibiting actions that are arbitrary and conspicuous and in excess of statutory authority. It also accuses the administrator of violating the First Amendment by targeting recipients of federal funding who have expressed viewpoints disfavored by the administration. And are they targeted? Absolutely, they're being targeted. But there's things that it's against the administration. So, you can always people are looking at both sides of the coin. So the scope of the pause is unclear, as the language in the order could be broadly interpreted to apply a sweeping range of funding programs across education, medical research, infrastructure program, small business loans, we're talking about the SBA, right? Housing and more. Grants that have been awarded but not dispersed are also subject to the pause. So if you've been awarded a grant and you wrote a grant and you have not been awarded it yet, it may be paused. So one of the things is grants that have been awarded, it may not be paused. And then with the federal government, I know a lot of the grants that we get as far as nonprofits, we don't start writing until this time of the year, and they're awarded in September. So we're going to probably look and see a lot of the funding is not going to be there that we usually apply for during these times of the year, okay? The White House guidance issued later Tuesday that sought to clarify the impact said the pause specifically applies to Trump's executive orders on immigration, foreign aid, emergency and the environment, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We know that's been affecting a lot of nonprofits, abortion and transgender issues, a much narrow set of grants, okay? Senator Patty Murray, the top Democrat on the State Appropriations Committee, listed dozens of programs that could be affected in a memo, including grants to prevent violence against women and victims, federally funded public transit projects, and grants to support firefighters, state and local law enforcement, and the veterans. That's a lot that's going to be on the chopping board. Okay. Does Trump's grant freeze impact student loans? The federal Pell Grants and direct loans are not impacted. Okay. Will Trump's grant pause impact food stamps, Medicare, and Social Security? No. Social Security, Medicare, food stamps, welfare, and assistance that is going directly to individuals will not be impacted. So nonprofit, NGOs, you may be affected if you get federal funding. You may be affected if you get county and state funding because it's the trickle down, okay? This is really important. Let's see, it says the White House said in its guidance issued publicly later Tuesday that Medicaid will continue without pause. However, Medicaid portals are down in all 50 states, okay? While levity is, so the portals are down. I was just on a portal and it was spinning. It spun for about a good half an hour and then it closed, it shut me out. So, I'm not going to talk about what they're talking about, but it says one of the senators said they called this move a blatant attempt to rip away health insurance from millions of Americans overnight. That will get people killed. The White House did not say why the portal was down, but that's just talking about what could happen with the portals being down for the Medicaid. Okay. How is it impacting foreign? It's like he ordered a separate 90-day freeze on foreign development assistance. Okay. Legal actions against the order are likely to argue Trump can't pause funding that's already been approved by Congress. And I hope that's true. Because of the Impoundment Act of 1974 requires president to submit requests to Congress to halt federal funding that has already been appropriated but not yet spent. Okay? Though Trump has argued for years the law is unconstitutional. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. Okay? How Democrats read it doesn't matter. I'm not even going to go into that. But right now, I just want you all to think about this, and this is good for us to think about in the long. What else can we do to get funding? We should be diversifying our funding anyway. When we talk about having grants and funding, that should be something that we should diversify. And so I'm going to be having an upcoming class and talking about diversifying and what does it look like and how can you pull different streams and where can you get diversity, and let us leverage the internet. The internet is powerful. And so if this is the time, is right now for us to look at different funding sources. So if you're ready, there's a lot out there. If nonprofits, if you already have staff in place and you're worried about losing some of them, there's so many different things that we could do that can get money in the door sooner than later. Okay, so let's band together. Let's get together. If you want to learn more, click the link below. Email me. Let me know that you're interested, and I will get you some information, and we can just all get together and we can huddle and make this happen. All right, look forward to speaking to you. May peace guide you everywhere you go. We'll talk to you soon.